You ever just look up at a skyscraper and wonder, is there a limit to how big we can get? Not just in myths and movies with giants, but for real. What's the absolute tallest a human being could grow before physics and our own biology just stop us in our tracks? To even begin to answer that, you have to meet this guy, Robert Wadlow. He was, and still is, the tallest human in recorded history. At nearly 9 feet tall, he was taller than a grizzly bear on its hind legs. He literally had to duck to get through most doors. But here's the part that's just mind-blowing. When he died at only 22 years old, he was still growing. His pituitary gland was in overdrive, so his body just kept going. If he had lived, there's no question he would have smashed through the 9-foot barrier. So that begs the ultimate question. Was Robert Wadlow a total fluke? Someone who pushed our species right to the very edge of what's possible? Or could we, theoretically, go even taller? To figure that out, we need to look at our history and at the laws of physics. Okay, first things first, you gotta realize that as a species, we're kind of in the middle of a huge growth spurt right now. We have not always been this tall, not by a long shot. I mean, if you look back, our prehistoric ancestors were way shorter. Now, the global average has slowly crept up, but the really wild changes have happened super recently. In places with great food and healthcare, like the Netherlands, the average guy is now 6 feet tall. That jump happened in just a couple of generations. But can that really go on forever? Can we just eat better and better until we're all giants? Well, no, because there's a physical wall we're all about to slam into. And the answer isn't in our diet, it's in physics. And this is where the whole thing gets really interesting. Our bodies are basically biological machines. Incredible structures, sure, but they still have to play by the rules of the universe. And the biggest rule of all, gravity. The rule that really messes things up for us is something called the square cube law. It sounds complicated, but it's a simple and kind of brutal idea. When you get bigger, your weight increases way faster than your strength does. So check this out. Let's say you magically double a person's height. The strength of their bones only gets 4 times stronger, but their weight, it goes up by a factor of 8. You see the problem? Your weight literally outpaces your body's ability to hold itself up. The end result is, well, it's not pretty. Unlike the giants you see in movies, a real human scaled up to that size wouldn't be strong. They'd be incredibly fragile. They would literally be crushed under their own weight. Our bodies just aren't designed for that kind of load. And it's not just one thing that would fail, it's a total system collapse. Your bones would be under so much stress that just walking could fracture your shins. Your heart would have to pump with insane pressure just to get blood up to your brain. And your circulation would be a disaster, which, by the way, is what led to Robert Wadlow's death. It was a simple infection in his leg that his body just couldn't fight off. So, once you factor in all of these limits, the bone strength, the heart strain, the whole shebang, scientists have actually been able to calculate a number, a hard ceiling for how tall a human can be. And there it is. Based on our current design, the absolute limit for a human being is somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 to 10 feet tall. You go beyond that, and the human body as we know it, it just stops working. So here's the final verdict on why gravity always wins. At 10 feet, your leg bones are trying to support thousands of pounds. Your heart is in constant overdrive, like you're running a marathon 24/7. And your joints, they just grind themselves into dust, leaving you in constant, debilitating pain. But what if we could just change the rules? I mean, if our current biology has a hard limit, what if we just engineered a new one? This is where we leave the world of what's possible today and step into the realm of science fiction. I mean, think about it. In the future, we could theoretically use tools like CRISPR, which is basically a word processor for our DNA, to program ourselves to have denser, stronger bones. Or we could reinforce our skeletons with carbon fiber, maybe even install a second artificial heart to help with the massive job of pumping all that blood. Now, this all might sound like pure fantasy, but the desire to engineer our height is already here right now. There are clinics charging thousands of dollars for growth hormone therapies that are risky and often don't even work, all in the chase to be a little bit taller. And that really brings us from the question of can we do this to the much more important question, should we? Because pushing these biological limits comes with a serious cost. Let's just go back to Robert Wadlow for a second. His life was not easy. It was a constant struggle. He needed leg braces just to walk and had almost no feeling at his feet. His record-breaking height was also the source of his constant physical suffering. And he wasn't an exception. That's the tragic reality. For most of history, being a giant was basically a death sentence. And even with today's amazing medicine, just surviving isn't the same as thriving. The strain is just too much for the body to handle long-term. So while physics might tell us the limit is around 10 feet, maybe the real question isn't a physical one at all. Maybe it's a cultural one. Why are we so obsessed with being taller in the first place? What does that say about what we value, and how much health are we willing to trade away just for a few more inches of height?